Ooh, wasn't that some crisp Quake from last week, 40? And there's even more that's going to be coming up on tonight's broadcast. I bet you can't wait, mate.
I can't, but big shout outs to Saigib. I mean, that style, that's unbeatable. I know he didn't take the set, but you got to point it out. That's pretty good.
Oh, he's looking fresh. He,
Oh, yeah.
fully G'd up. He was keeping it trilled the entire set. He was looking good, man.
It was. Big shouts to him. Everyone else needs to step up their game, just saying. But you're absolutely right. Lots of Quake coming up today. Lots of nail biters last week. Any particular set that you're looking forward to?
You know what? The whole day looks good, to be honest with you, but there is a couple of little treats thrown into the mix, obviously. We got a few banging games that, thankfully, we do have the schedule up on screen, so everyone has a level playing field to have a look at these. Pick your favorites because all of them are juicy. But 40, for me, if I did have to throw one into the mix that I was really looking forward to, I know it's a bit of an unpredictable pick. I know there might be some people that are going, it's a bit of a weird one, but I'm actually thinking Razy Base could be pretty exciting tonight.
I agree. Razy base. I mean, the eye catchers are, of course, Cooler, Kielsen, Wenger, CNZ, right? GJ Wheaton going to be coming on the broadcast for those last two. But I personally like the Zenaku Rafa matchup because I feel like they're very similar in how they play. In Zenaku, again, their mentality. Zenaku always wants to get better, and that's kind of the end boss, right? You want to be able to play Rafa, and if you can take a map off of him, which, by the way, nobody has yet, that would be a huge boost of confidence for Zenaku.
Oh, it would be, mate. And Zenecu's been looking really good as well. It was actually awesome to see him when I came back in on week 6. It was the first time I get to see him after a good couple of months where obviously he had been grinding hard. And you've seen that progress. It is gameplay 40. He looks really well-rounded. It's not just the aggressiveness. It's not just the defensive play style. This man seems like now he can kind of do it all.
He's getting there. And he has no signs of stopping. And again, he just wants to push the envelope, keep getting better. And a lot of people say that he's the Australian Rafa, mostly just Spart1e. So that's just really one person. But he said it, so I have to repeat it. But yeah, it counts. Somebody has said it once. But yeah, a whole great day of Quake as always, because Sundays are for fragging, Jackie, and I'm ready.
They are indeed. And that's what we're going to have coming up tonight. There is a lot of exciting games that are going to be absolutely exhilarating. As you said, we've dabbled into a couple of them. Let us know your favorites as well, of course, over on social media. You can always use the hashtag Quake Pro League and tweet in at me and 40 at any point if you want to get involved with a bit of a conversation with the Beardy Beaky boys.
Oh yeah. Pun DMC in the booth today. But again, we're going to start off on what? Tox Spart1e, I think. The highlight for me is Tox has won 2 maps. That's brutal. Like, this is Tox, right? That's so just absolutely mind-blowing to me that he's only taken 2 maps. A lot of the maps have been extremely close. Don't get me wrong. But it's just insane to see that. Again, if you need to take an in-depth look at everything, quake.pglesports.com. You can get into the nitty-gritty and see exactly the breakdowns for the Americas and Europe. But that's just mind-blowing to me to see that stat.
Oh, it is pretty crazy, right? I suppose it's also further backed up by the point they're meeting in the competition as well, with this being the Swedish derby between Tox and Spart1e, right? Form's going to be a big question going into this. I feel like that's not something I've said in quite a while. On the build-up to obviously the Quake World Championship back towards QuakeCon, I was always saying that Tox had kind of found a position where it wasn't that constant debate of which Tox is going to show up, what's his form going to be looking like. He was on cruise control for the most part and really hitting his shots. So it is interesting to see there has been a bit more of a drop-off over stage 1 of season 2. He's not really got back into that groove, and if there's a time to do it, if there's a game where you're going to show up just for the domestic matchup, just for the the fun-loving nature between these two going head-to-head in what is honestly just going to be a vintage game of Quake 40, this would probably be the one to turn it back on.
You'd hope so. You feel like there's almost been a firmware update that needs to be rolled back with the Terminator and some bugs that need to be worked out, but we'll see. I mean, Spart1e is also streaky, right? I was talking to you earlier about how I want this game to just turn out to be railguns everywhere. Insta-gib, just no holds barred, just rail after rail from both players, because that's what I want to see, but I'm selfish, so we'll see. Spart1e has the ability to kind of surprise people and kind of pop off if he gets a good start and he gets the momentum going, but we'll see. It's kind of the same with both players where you don't really know which one is going to show up. Is it going to be the rail god Spart1e? Is it going to be kind of the lackluster Spart1e? Is it going to be Tox, the machine, the aimbot? Or is it going to be the Tox where it's kind of like, what's happening? Is he not fully awake yet? What's going on? But there's only one way to find out, Jackie.
There really is. Obviously, getting both of them in the arena and letting them bash each other's heads in 40, because this is going to be an exciting game no matter what we get out of it. A lot of R&R, but not rest and relaxation, of course. I'm talking rails and rockets. That is going to be the big talking point between both of these Swedish superstars. Genuinely, I just hope they both turn up and give us a hell of a game tonight. No matter what the outcome is really for either of them in terms of the standings, it's not going to do a crazy amount, but it's just the fact of this being the matchup that it is, it still has a lot of prestige to it. It's still a money matchup. It's still a game game that a lot of people are going to want to see, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're lining up, they're waking up, they're slamming their coffees. They want to see these meatballs go at it. And I'm excited too. And don't forget, every map is money. Even if you don't win the set, you know, take something home, put something in your pocket, stack that paper as best you can.
Oh yeah, get that P. That's what it's all about. But let's get into the veto, 40, because we can see if there is going to be any potential advantages to either of our Swedish All-Stars. It's all lined up on a platter in front of us. But what sticks out to you, 40 Lions?
Well, taking a look, I really like the Strog pick on Awoken. I've seen a lot of people utilize Strog really well. Going against the Galena might be a little bit tough. We got Ruins at the end there. Nyx Visor, pretty standard. And then to start it off, what better way to start a relationship than with a deep embrace? Ranger, Doom Guy, I think both are fantastic picks. I personally prefer the Ranger just a slight bit because if Spart1e has anything up his sleeve in terms of those premeditated orbs, jump in on an item, get out immediately in a flash, I think that is a bit of an advantage compared to Doom Guy. I mean, his double jump's fantastic. You can't take anything away from the Doom Slayer, but I favor Ranger a tiny bit in that matchup specifically.
I don't know, man. I'm looking towards the Doom. I'm thinking there's a lot of potential there for the Doom to be the true champion of Deep Embrace. The double jump actually works out an awful lot. It's also sick as well, again, for you, right? The fact I've come back in at such a pivotal point into the stage, and also now we've got the new maps in rotation, Deep Embrace being probably my favorite of the two that I think plays by far the best. I then get that lined up straight before we have an Awoken game. That's the dream for me. These are two maps with these two players that is just going to be so high octane, so aggressive, and just really raw Quake. There's going to be no trivia to any of this.
I'm just looking forward to it. You're absolutely right. Deep Embrace is probably one of the faster paced maps, and we've seen the frag count go sky high on that map specifically, and I'm looking forward to more of the same here. I want to see someone break 30. I don't know. I'd have to check and see if anyone has done that on Deep Embrace yet, but I think Rafa and Razy may have gotten extremely close.
And then, of course, finally as well, to shut us down with what is going to be a great opening bout to kick off week 8 of the Quake Pro League is Ruins of Sarnath, and that's Nyx, of course, going up against Visor. Classic duality matchup there, a bit of a yin and yang on that one in terms of the counter pick. Always quite exciting though, 40.
Yeah, very, very excited for the whole set and all these matchups, and just to see these players go at it, really.
Oh man, it's going to be damn good. I can't wait to get into it. I can only imagine everyone's bustling at home, itching for this one as well. It is a bit of a treat that we've been served up to start off the week at least. I'm enjoying these Swedish All-Star games. Spart1e looked really good when I saw him previously. It was better to see him kind of coming out of his shell again, just playing that aggressive, fun-loving Spart1e style where he bounces around the map like you imagine he would at a party. And then for Tox, I'm just looking for the speed. I'm looking for him to bring the pain and just not stop. I just want those constant rails, constant rockets. He can barrage his opponents down. I think that's one of the key points about Tox, right? Is when he's on, he really is on, and he will outmaneuver you and make you feel like he is.
Yeah, just suffocating, absolutely merciless. But will that Tox show up? We're going to find out shortly here. Predictions, I mean, that's my thing, right? I got to put you on the spot. So what do you got, Jackie?
You know what? I'm going for the 2-1, but I'm favoring Tox on this. I think first 2 maps go his way, Deep Embrace and obviously Awoken as well. And then I think we're going to see Ruins falling in favor of Spart1e.
I'm doing the exact opposite. Not just because, not just because we have to even things out yin and yang, but I just feel like Spart1e is going to show up and he's going to surprise everybody. 2-1 Spart1e. Chat, lock it in. Let's see some predictions in there, and I think we're going to get into this one very shortly. Deep Embrace, Tox, Spart1e, and let's kick off this Sunday.
Oh, man. What a treat of a first game. What a treat to be with you as well, 40. I've missed you, mate, and I'm excited to cast some Quake alongside you.
I'm very excited, man. I missed you so much, but here we are. We made it. Both rockets coming out from both players here. Not a ton of damage, though. Not for the time being, anyway. Spart1e trying to make his way over. Maybe a little bit of a cutoff here. Tox smells him. There's the double jump in the rail. 60 HP. Very weak, and Tox finishes that one off rather quickly. 30 seconds in.
Comes out of his corner with the railgun, getting aggro. That's what you want to see from the big Terminator himself. Clearly, that update has finally started to work out for him. Skynet are rolling out the upgrades. Is it going to be a bit of a judgment day, though, for Spart1e as we get closer and closer towards the minute mark? A couple of odd peaks here and there from Tox, but not doing anything too rambunctious. Playing it fairly slow. He has no reason to really overcommit to this. If you can do some chip damage and then back off, that's probably the game plan here. You've still got 4 seconds till Mega's up, about 9 until Heavy comes in. There's a trade between the rails, though, but he just keeps on going. Rail after rail. He's coming in hot like a bullet train, and he will smash the face of Spart1e for a second frag. That was sick.
Absolutely brutal. That firmware update, whatever the rollback was, if it was a bug fix, whatever it is. Tox making it rain, switching the machine gun, almost getting Spart1e again through the hole. What a rail, and Tox is on fire right now.
Oh, he is more than on fire. This man is a raging inferno that just keeps growing with every opportunity he gets to fire out another rail and strike another match, striking his opponent quite literally here on Deep Embrace. This should be a freebie if he can actually follow up through. Did a lot of damage with the LG, but Spart1e gets himself out of there using the Dire Orb as a bit of a bait play. Now, Tox slowing it down slightly, walks further forward, slapping on the heavy armor back onto his chest and keeping himself alive with a little bit more sustainability.
I'm really scared that I'm going to jinx it, but Tox is hitting 90% rail right now.
Dude,
I think I just ruined it, but I don't even care because the people need to know. There's a little bit of trouble coming out. Spart1e will miss with a rail of his own. Toxic with a good cutoff rocket, making sure that Spart1e thinks twice before going through that doorway here, trying to play off the heavy armor, which is coming up shortly.
Genuinely thought it. That's why I got so excited when I saw what this game was in terms of the veto. These first two maps with a player like Tox, that's why I had to go with Tox the whole way, man. That rail for the constant chip damage, the rockets when he wants to get in your face and really just obliterate you. Need to see a bit more. Obviously, 3 frags ahead already, but if he can build that lead, he's going to. Rockets are coming down. Spart1e, lucky. He gets himself out of trouble there, barely moving out the way of the rail coming towards him, but can he dodge the LG? Good damage done with the rocket. This will force Tox back for a meantime, but the Mega's up. He can replenish himself, and they both take a major item apiece on this rotation.
He had that Mega. Spart1e coming in with the LG, and the rocket's just not landing. Spart1e getting himself on the board, and could this be the kickstart he needed?
Bit of an oil change, potentially, for Spart1e, of course. Get the old motor running, get him back in the game. Of course, I mean, he's not too far down. We're only 3 minutes in. It's just the fact that Tox made such quick work of him for those opening 3 frags, it felt like it was going to keep on building. Now, though, Spart1e coming in hot, quite literally, as he turns the corner with a rocket jump, forces Tox back, but he does steal away the heavy. Gambling to make it towards the Mega as well. Great use of the Dire Orb, all over the ledge. He can't do enough damage for it. He will fall once again and pass over another frag back to Tox.
Oh my god, that defensive rocket from Spart1e was immaculate, and the follow-up will get him the frag off the spawn. That is huge. But the chase from Tox, LG tickle. Spart1e needs to be careful here, and this is what we want to see. That rocket was fantastic from Spart1e, tossing Tox back down, saying, get off me. But Toxic merciless in his pursuit. 93 HP is going to drop down. Little more of a tickle as Spart1e gets caught off guard. 5-2, and this is why you love Deep Embrace.
Oh, it's so exciting to watch. It's just a constant scrap, back and forth, just punches going towards the face and leaving a fairly shattered cavity in its place. 4 minutes and 14 seconds have gone by so far. Tox coming out, getting into a close encounter that's really not favoring him, but he tries to do more damage with the rail back to at least make this one an awkward encounter for Spart1e. Heals himself up though, grabbing the heavy, and there's another fight coming immediately. Lots of damage done. Has to drop off, being chased by the LG, playing close towards the murder hole. Rockets to reinitiate, goes for the flick, but can't quite land. It follows it up on the sequel though, and at least brings them now back into a 1 frag deficit.
So Spart1e warming up a little bit here. Tox needs to be careful. He gets hit with the rail right off the bat. The rocket spam, will it land? It might force him out a little bit. There's some good damage. Tox has to be careful, but there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Spart1e will tie it at 5. Might even tack on another one here if Tox can't get out quick enough. Good rocket there. Forcing Spart1e down the lower path. He's going to snack that 50 shard on his way over. Good machine gun swap to keep the damage up as well. Oh my god, what a rocket. I thought he was going to get pushed into the cavernous death hole there, but he gets taken out again, and you can't even speak, Jackie. It's just too high flying, 6-6.
It's just a constant back and forth. This is really shaping up to be an exciting matchup as well. We're now 6-6 at the 5-minute mark. Tox trying to hold his own, just getting railed down till he's left as a mere puddle on the ground where heavy spawns. And Spart1e once again has a 1 frag advantage. That's quickly going to be closed down, you'd imagine, though, as he has no life left to play with. 8 stack as he attempts to get out of there. The LG is charged up as Tox barely brushes him down and gets back into another encounter. Right off the back of the spawn, Tox was so low. Spart1e running in with the super shotgun and makes quick work of him. Now continuing to build up that 8 frag lead to a 9th if he can get up here in time. Grabs the heavy, keeps on fighting with the added sustainability, but the rocket's raining in.
Wow.
Somehow he clutches it out with the LG though, 40.
5 HP, stealing that heavy, and hitting the rail on the way out. Can he find the follow-up? He almost got it. He's got the angle. He's looking for it. Spart1e's hungry. Oh, misses it. He was going to give those cheeks a clap in there. 7-9 as Spart1e has a 2-frag lead. He's still extremely weak. Still finding the rails. Somehow hitting everything but Tox with the rocket. Cuts him off at the Mega, and he's going to claim that as his own. And this is absolutely insane. Heavy's up. Spart1e's already got a rail, and he's going to make his way over, looking for some damage. Tox trying to defend. There's the double jump. There's the rail, and there's a follow-up, but the trade is... I can't believe it. The trade comes out. Spart1e's still on top. What is happening, Jackie?
Oh, I don't know, but I absolutely love it. I mean, that's sickeningly good. The adjustment there is just beautiful from Spart1e. The flicks have been on point right now with the rail. There is no stopping him. You physically cannot derail him, it seems, even when he's taking rockets to the lips. As he goes back over, though, a little bit slower this time. Grabs himself the Mega. Spots out Tox once again. Reposition with a Dire Orb. Gets barely in front of him. The rockets are raining down. Tries to predict where the double jump is going to take Tox. And I'll tell you where Spart1e's going to take Tox. Straight down to the Nether Realm. Slaying him once again. And really building himself a good lead. A lead that starts to get closed up, though. Tox moving back in. It's now a 10-11 split 40. And this game does not stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Tox knowing he did enough damage, he's going to follow up, but again, he can't stack back up quick enough. Spart1e's going to take that, and this is just a back and forth round of haymakers here. 10-12, Spart1e still has the lead. Trying to maybe slow it down. Tox not letting it here. As Spart1e's actually going to take the fight. He wanted the heavy, and he says, you know what, it's not really worth it. So Tox will claim that. Mega's not up for 20, and now we see Spart1e slowing it down, and the minute he does, Tox is there to punish. Nowhere to go. He has to be careful. There's the rockets. Tox, can he get it? Tries to get the last bit of rail and rocket, and he just can't find the 26 damage he needs. The rail's not going to do it either, and Tox is extremely weak. Spart1e somehow staying alive and putting out so much damage here. Tox is in the danger zone.
Oh, man. I thought Spart1e had his number when he was trying to just back his way out with the Tri-Bolt, doing some splash damage, got him so low. And now, again, he's really looking to try and leave that blood splattering all over the ground. There is going to be a stalemate for a few seconds. 20 seconds till Heavy's back up, but Mega's just spawned in. And that has been snatched from the old roam by for Spart1e, taking a lot of damage and going to be counting his blessings. He was able to grab himself the Mega because he's very low now. Stack taking a heavy chip. At least builds himself back up. The extra light armor he finds. This is probably one of the quietest moments we've had so far throughout Deep Embrace. It's been very back and forth the entire time. And there's still 2 frags that is between Spart1e and Tox here. If the Swedish All-Stars want to keep this game close. Rails galore, going down one after another, but no frag is found off the back of it, just mid-tag. Really committing with the LG, getting up close and personal. He knows he's low, tries to Dire Roll behind, pulls out the rocket, but can't commit off the back of it. Tox is trying to follow up with an immediate frag as well. Off the spawn, but the rockets are raining down, and the barrage will frag him. A minute left 40 for 2 frags.
And now is Spart1e going to just try and play hide and seek? Can he even get away? The shotgun blast will say nay. Tox puts himself back on the board. Still down 1 frag. Needs to hunt as time ticking away. 40 seconds. There's a little bit of chip damage. The double jump is going to be great for the cutoff. Spart1e with a good defensive rocket sends Tox flying. And Tox is just trying to put out as much damage as he can. More shotgun. The health bubbles are going to keep Spart1e alive. Tox is hurt. There's the Dire Orb back in. And what a ballsy play literally from Spart1e as he uses the Dire Orb to reposition and get that frag. 2 up again with 20 seconds left.
He just does not stop the party from this man. Quite literally looking like the Venga boys right now. He is giving it with his thumping tracks. There's no chance here for Tox. Time is gone. He won't be able to pick this one up. At least brings it back from the region of 1 frag, but off the spawn, it's just not going to happen. That'll be a 14-13 game on Deep Embrace as the first map in the series goes the way of Spart1e. But that scoreline does not reflect the absolute carnage we saw throughout that entire game. There was no point of breathing. There was no point of anyone taking a bit of a break. I think at most we maybe saw like 20 seconds without a fight.
Yeah, I can't. I'm too fat for this. That's just exciting. What a way to start off the day. I love that map. I think chat loves it too. That is a back and forth haymaker that we just saw punch for punch the whole way through. And you got to love it, man. I think both players were shooting around 60% rail, which is what I wanted to see. Tox starting off with 90% rail like an absolute beast. But, I mean, I don't want to say that I said it, but Spart1e's here to maybe surprise a couple people. We'll see. It was only 1 map, but it was a hell of a map too.
Oh, it was sick. No matter what the outcome is on that, I think everyone's probably enjoyed themselves. It was a hell of a duel to start things off. And obviously the best bit about it is that we go off the back of Deep Embrace straight into Awoken. So we're going to be carrying on with a very similar trend. In terms of the aggression we'll see, I imagine it'll carry over and be quite similar, to be honest.
I would hope, but you could see either player just kind of swap up their playstyle completely. Again, the spawns play a little differently in Awoken. We'll see if it's as fast-paced. I'm sure, you know, the chat wants to see it. You and I want to see it. So
Oh yeah.
we're crossing our fingers and toes there as you take a look at the stats, shooting about 54, 52% rail respectively. Just insane, man. That was such a good game. The minute that like Spart1e or Tox would get a frag, the other player did enough damage to just jump back in, be it shotgun, LG, maybe even rail sometimes, to just get that frag back. And that's what makes Deep Embrace so to me so amazing, is that you have to have clean kills to maintain that stack, and it's a lot harder on that map given, you know, how small it is and where the spawns are. So it just makes it a lot more interesting to see those fights and see how kind of sloppy it gets. And it's like super sloppy double dare, man. You gotta love it.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. It's actually really fun. I think the best bit about it is, as well, is Deep Embrace is one of those maps that it doesn't really matter what style of Quake we've seen on it. Even when Base has played on it, he can kind of bend it to the way he wants to play. So it's still exciting to see. It does force a lot more aggression out, but if that's the sort of aggression we're going to get to see with our eye holes, then I'm living for it, 40, because it is quite enjoyable. Hopefully Awoken carries on with some similar trends, as that looks to be another staple banger. You know, you got the two Swedes. They're both clearly fired up. Tox is on point with the rails tonight. That was a big if coming into it. Now I think we have that one as a hard fact.
Yeah, I think that was fantastic showing from Tox. He did start dropping off a little bit there. I mean, starting off with 90% is kind of hard to maintain that, but I think the champ picks on this one, Galena versus Strog, are going to be very interesting, and see how Tox plays. Because of that totem economy, he might play a little bit slower, but once he gets it going, you know, having that pocket mega is going to be huge, and he's going to be able to play as aggressive as he likes around that. So I think the key for him is going to be starting to get that totem economy as quick as he can, and just taking the fight to Spart1e. As we saw right there, he has no problem doing it. It's just a matter of getting that extra frag or two to kind of take the map. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, again as well, right? Obviously, it's the opposition pick there, a Strog and Pika coming out for Spart1e. It's another champ that I'd say works quite well for both of them, but having Spart1e on it is definitely going to be enjoyable to see in terms of how this aways and when it comes to his rocket play. Not only is he now going to be incredibly fast, but he can slide his way around, just causing shenanigans and then just unloading with that rocket launcher time and time again. I think that's why it's going to be very fun when we get him out here, just ready for our second clash of the night. I suppose you are doing quite well though in terms of your prediction, 40. You've got one right.
Off to a strong start. I mean, technically, we're both right. So you did say Spart1e would get a map. Toxic can come and, you know, grab the last two. We'll see. We'll see. But regardless, I mean, I just want more high-flying action like that. I'm sure chat does too, because that was a banger of a start, and more to come. I hope. Fingers crossed on Awoken. We'll see. We'll see.
I feel like it's got to. At this point, we built it up too much. It's got to just come out.
1-0 is going to be the game, and chat's going to be like, "I can't believe you guys jinxed it." And we'll be like, "Yeah, that's what we do here at Pun DMC." But you never know. It could go that way. Like I said, Tox is yet to put up a lot of numbers in terms of maps. Just 2 maps. One, and that one slipped away from him as well. How many times have we seen that kind of slip away from Tox throughout the weeks here? It's kind of getting heartbreaking after a while.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. It is kind of rough, right? Because obviously you still would assume Tox would be able to keep himself towards the middle of the pack at least. He's always floated around that position and had some really great runs when we did get him back on land towards some of the older stage finals that we had seen. Obviously now a little bit of a rougher position to be in terms of the current climate of the world, right? So we're not getting to see that as much. But I hope there is a bit of resurgence for him. Even with the online finals, it's been really awesome to see the quality of play we have coming out from Tox. We have not got that many weeks left for it. We're coming up close towards the end of the season again now.
Yeah, it's happening week by week. You got to stack that paper as best you can. But let's try and keep it focused here. I think we're slowly getting into the game here. Awoken, and let's all pray for high-flying action as we all want. It's going to be Tox Spart1e map number 2, and let's see if it's going to be a tale of rails. I would love to see that, but we'll see how they want to play it.
Oh man, we'll find out. We'll get the grips with it as we head on in to see how the second map is going to go down. This should be a hell of a series. Obviously a smorgasbord of Swedish superstars going head to head here in this matchup. Early on, we get the Galena of Tox popping down the first totem at a bit of a cheeky angle just to start things off. Whereas Spart1e, he's got a commanding bit of control here towards middle.
Really slow. There's a little bit of LG coming out. Some Tri-Bolt not landing. The Rocket's not landing either. Tox doing a good job of keeping his distance. Not taking any unnecessary damage. He's going to miss with that rail as Spart1e might try and aggress on this heavy. He wants it. There's the peeker. Dealt with nicely there. There's the Tri-Bolt. Wow, that rocket into rail, and that's going to... It should send Spart1e packing, but none... Oh, wow. I was going to say nothing to it. He almost dies. Escapes with his life, barely 20-ish HP at best. He's still rocking about nothing, and I think Tox saw him, and yep. He's like, wait a minute. What is that? the double peek. Tox puts himself on the board at 1, grabs the Mega, has a great stack, and can rotate back to the Heavy with 10 seconds left, even dealing a little bit of damage in between here. There it is. There's the rail. Can he find the follow-up? He does, and Spart1e needs to get out of here.
Oh, here we go. This is what you want to see. Tox on Awoken with the railgun out, just bouncing around B-hop after B-hop, laying down the law with the railgun. Spart1e trying to run amok at least this time towards middle. The madness is ensuing. Switching over to the rocket, so 40, and he completely aggresses on this one. Neither of them walking away with the frag though. Spart1e still hoping to get a bit of a better situation off the back of this. Launches in, grabs the Mega, fully commits to the LG, and leaves Tox in a watery grave. No follow-up frag for you.
It was really well done by Spart1e. Holding his ground. There's a little bit of tri-bolt here as Tox just trying to machine gun Spart1e down 55 HP. Just couldn't land the damage he needed. The drive-by rail for Spart1e will miss, but he will be able to stack back up off the items in LG. 1 rocket left. He's going to replenish that immediately here. So now he's taking control of the mid-ground. Just in time for Mega, but he's going to sneak on by Spart1e. The positioning not there. Does hit a rail on the way out, and that is heartbreaking.
It's quite rough to see. Oh, man. If we were hoping for a game somewhat akin to Deep Embrace, it started off in a very similar fashion. The type of plays we're seeing between the two of these all-stars at the minute. Once the rocket barrage is going out here from Tox, looking to do some damage from a distance onto Spart1e, as he is very low. Unfortunately, forgot how tall he was there. Clipped his head as he wanted to commit to the rocket jump to get himself on a high ground. Switching back out to the LG though, over the bounce pad, and he is just booping Spart1e out of there. Sends him flying, but doesn't fancy his chances of chasing him down. Knowing his low, it's probably not worth the risk.
And even though Spart1e gave that up, he did do pretty good damage, but he's going to take a rail. This is very dangerous. The totem comes down, and just like that, Tox melts him, hits him with the LG 3-1. Good machine gun from Spart1e off the spawn, keeping the damage as high as he can here, trying to position on this Mega. Doesn't really have any weapons to work with. Toxic knows it. He's trying to get some damage, not landing anything and almost dying. So Spart1e somehow turns that around. Tox needs to be careful. That's a good rail there from around the corner. Needs to find a little bit more, and he does. And Spart1e's just running into these rails now, making it easy for Tox.
Oh, man. It's ridiculous. You think about the extra stack disadvantage he had throughout that entire encounter, and just rail after rail. Spart1e was taking it on the chin. He gets up behind him as well. Look at the movement on this man. It doesn't matter what champion is on. He's still so buttery smooth as his approach to the actual game. Gets up behind Spart1e, does some nice damage. There's a bit of a suspicion for where exactly he is as well. Trying to pre-fire it out with the rockets in case he pushes in. The predictive would have hit him straight in the face. Backs up, grabs another major item as he will steal away the Mega. Still about 15 seconds till Heavy's back up as well. And we've just hit the 4-minute mark. It's a 2 frag lead so far for Tox. And he's hoping that he can get himself another one. Does force Spart1e back. Will he commit to this? Looking out for him, trying to keep those ears open to catch sounds of where exactly Spart1e's got himself to as he heads back over towards Heavy. Comes up the bounce pad, reveals himself, doing damage with the LG, but not enough. This forces Tox to bring out one of his own. There's an awful lot of damage on the trace there, but Spart1e backs off towards middle.
And that entire time, Spart1e was just grabbing weapons. He had nothing, so I'm really glad that he figured out a way to stay alive. Needs to be careful here, taking a little bit of damage, leaving that Mega up, taking a little bit more of a fight before he's, dishing out the damage on Tox, and this is going to leave Tox really low, 50 HP. Spart1e stack looks great. He just needs to close in, and there's the rail. And that sequence from Spart1e was really, really good. For about a minute and a half, he only had machine gun and LG, stayed alive, grabbed the weapons he needed, actually stole a Heavy, and then just brought that frag into fruition here. Is now the LG on LG. Tox gonna get forced away. There's a totem that's gonna keep him alive for a little bit. Tri-bolt, will it land? The rockets won't, and the tri-bolt will prevail. Tox somehow makes it happen.
Oh, you would be fuming. I think Spart1e's trying to channel that inner anger, and I tell you who's going to be livid now. Tox will be. Oh, hit straight in the face by a paper airplane. It's gone in his eye, 40.
Oh, man, that stings. And the shotgun point blank as Tox is like, that didn't count. Do-over. That is absolutely insane, that sequence right there. Tox tried to take out the peeker, took himself out. There's a rail. Spart1e's got 80 HP, needs to be careful. There's a good rail as well. Next one could win it, and Tox will hit it in the nick of time. That Mega is mine.
Oh, dude. From a paper plane to the eye, it seems like he's really got a keen eye for frags now, as he's just racking them up, one after another. Tox has got himself into a great spot here on Awoken. He's suffering a lot of damage from the rear. Spart1e tremendously low though. Going to be taking the splash damage. This time the Pika doesn't get the better of him, and he does frag out Spart1e once again with the bare minimal amount of stack left. Here comes Spart1e straight off the spawn though, lightning fast. Look at his split as he lands in with the elbow, slaying Tox and keeping the game close.
And that rail, as Spart1e just tried to drop in and steal that heavy, was fantastic. Here's the rocket damage. The LG too strong as Spart1e gets a little bit over aggressive. Does good damage and gets a good spawn to get his rocket back, and he can take this frag. Can it land? The LG so strong from Tox, and he sends Spart1e packing.
Gotta back off. The Tri-Bolt spam coming out from the murder hole, but can he murder this man and make a mockery out of him? Spart1e with the smooth moves, transitions back over, heading towards the rail room. Tox, a sneaking suspicion of where he's coming from, barely dodging his way out of the rail. That could have really done some damage towards him. Get a bit of a connection off as well. Low on ammo. The only real weapon he has in his arsenal at this point is going to be that LG and HMG to work with. Backs himself up, getting a bit of a pocket heal off from the totem. He has an idea of where Spart1e is, but he has to make the gamble. He needs to get himself the rockets, as his arsenal is quite bad at this point. A bit of a tag from the distance, backs off once again. 14 seconds, still megas up. The movement's looking clean though, and his health bar is actually starting to get a little bit bigger. Rockets coming out, Spart1e doesn't take too much damage off the back of it. Doesn't go straight to the portal either. Basically down with the Pika, but that one will be fragged out.
Tension rising here is Toxic. Stuck in Banana. He's going to use that totem, and he's going to hold his ground with the LG, and it's almost good enough. Not quite long and strong enough. 7-4. Spart1e picks up that frag, and that's going to be big here. 2.5 minutes left. He needs 3 frags to tie it. Good rail off the spawn. Tox needs to get out. There's another follow-up, and surely he's going to get this one. Shotgun out of the sky. And Spart1e's heating up just when he needs to. Right off the spawn, there's another rail. Can he find it? Tox is out of there for the time being, but he's still not out of the woods yet as the cutoffs from Spart1e coming in. Misses with a rail. Tox has the LG. He's been so good with that weapon defensively, and please don't go for that Mega. He knows better than that. Still staying alive in the tri-bolt to the face. Oh, man.
Pika coming in for the direct landing, and then the follow-up with the rail shuts down Spart1e, shuts down Tox rather, leaving us now on a 7-6 with a 1 frag difference between the two men. This is still a game that could be brought back to potentially a sudden death scenario. If Spart1e can find himself another frag, still taking rails though, 40. That's going to slow him down slightly on his warpath. Has a good read of where exactly Tox has got himself towards. He's trying to gamble towards the Mega. He has to make his play right. It's got to be worth it very low. He's able to buff off the damage he's just taken and quickly make his move round Banana. A little bit paranoid about the peak coming out, but there isn't a push from Tox just yet. Ideally, if Tox can just waste time, that's the dream. He's so close to winning this one, and Living is moving towards the third map. But that's done. Happy ending for Tox. And the follow-up rail's even more damaging. This is rough now.
And if you're Tox, this can't happen. If you're a Tox fan, this can't happen. And not another heartbreak. Not like this. Tied at 7, 1 minute left. How does he hit that rail? Spart1e is popping off. There's a great rocket from Tox, but Spart1e has the Mega to fall back on. He's going to deny the 50 in the middle, and he's going to catch him out in Banana. There's a good rocket from Tox, but is it enough? It's not. Spart1e takes the lead with 40 seconds, and this could be soul-crushing, Jackie.
Oh man, it's going to be devastating. You're going to have that anxious feeling on your chest right now if your name is Tox, or if there's any fans out there that are thinking he had this one in the bag because it looked like it, and now he's a frag down with 30 seconds left. What can he do? Where's the play that's going to come out as he makes his move over towards the bounce pad? Predictive rocket from Spart1e will do a bit of damage, but his whole game plan is to avoid and evade and keep distance from Tox, and he's doing it perfectly. There's 10 seconds left. This has to be the final fight, and Tox can't quite catch up with him. It was 6 seconds to go. Spart1e's only gone and done it. He's again beaten Tox out by 1 frag, 40.
How does this keep happening? How? You have to sit there and say, he can't keep getting away with this, but that applies to literally everyone Tox plays, it feels as though. The way Tox is throwing, you'd think he's an American football quarterback. I don't understand it. It's soul-crushing at this point. I can't handle it. It hurts. I'm going to cry on stream.
It's rough. It really is quite rough for him. Rough for him,
It's
rather,
rough.
right?
It is rough. It's really rough for everybody.
Honestly, it hurts. It really hurts. I think the sad bit about it is, though, right? Obviously, it's this frag disparity. It being 1 kill on either of the 2 maps where they were fair play, fantastic games, really vintage games of aggressive Quake. We saw a lot of fantastic plays from either of the 2 competitors tonight. To be fair, obviously, one of the key takeaways for Tox had to have been the movement on both maps. He was pulling out some cheeky repositions to just get lots of damage off, essentially for free onto Spart1e whenever he went into the Pika. That was super solid. Unfortunately for him, though, Spart1e just outmaneuvering him and outplaying him when it came down to the last few minutes of the game. Tox, he's building himself these huge leads, but he just throws them away, and it's so sad to see.
Yeah, I think there needs to be some review as to why does this keep happening here as we take a look at the breakdown of the stats on that one. Again, decent rail percentages, Spart1e winning out on that battle, on that front a little bit. Item control was about the same as well, so it really just comes down to positioning and just the way that Spart1e kind of seemed relentless and heating up near the end there. I don't know. I don't understand how this keeps happening, but all I know is that it's heartbreaking, Jackie.
F's really
in the
rough,
chat.
mate.
F's in the chat for Tox. He's still got another map though, but the set is gone. Spart1e tied it up with a bow rather. But I mean, at this point, it's haunting almost. Just 2 maps throughout the season so far, and they keep slipping away in this fashion. And there's got to be something there. There's got to be something. I mean, how do you overcome this?
I don't know. Well, that's the scary part, right? I know it's spooky season. This really is a 2-sentence horror. Tox loses each map by 1 frag. That's the sort of thing that would send a shiver down your spine. It's rough to see, but it's also one of those where you have to give props to Spart1e. He's played some lights out Quake. He came out really clean to the series. He's matching the aggression and tempo that we're seeing from Tox as well. We know at the best of times, it's hard to try and keep up with him when he's just serving up the lethal rails, just one after another, whilst he's somehow just coming away with, ridiculous movement, going so fast you'd think Usain Bolt was on the server. It does leave you wondering how Spart1e's been able to contend with that and actually get the better of him in a good majority of the fights. It comes down to a lot of the sustainability, right? Like, item control, it was fairly close together. There wasn't that much of a disparity, to be honest. It felt like they were trading pretty much every rotation. Spart1e had a bit of an edge on it, but it just seems like he's out-aiming him. In the past moments of that, the rail really was the biggest boon for Spart1e.
Yeah, and some of the shots that Spart1e hit were just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
These vertical rails coming out near the T-Con, like, I don't understand how he hit some of that, but he's just stacking up the damage, and he's taking the frags that he needs to, and he's pulling away. 1 frag, it's not the flashiest, but all the props to Spart1e in the world for, keeping his head in the game and bringing that back, because that was a huge comeback for Spart1e.
It is, and now obviously he has the chance to not only have won the series, but really have won the series and walk away with the full 3-0, net himself some extra points, an extra bit of moolah into the back pocket as well. He loves Skrilla, come on. It's one of those things that is well known about Spart1e. He loves partying and he loves Skrill, so hopefully he should be able to come in with a really clean matchup here on the third 40. But again, I don't feel like Tox is going to have this one as a write-off. He'll be really serving it up again and keeping the fight hot.
Yeah, I mean, you hope to see him bounce back and grab this last map, but we'll see. Ruin's going to be map number 3. Spart1e looking hot, pulling 2 out. Can he make it 3 and put that final nail in the coffin for this set? We will see here as we're starting off on Tox. Spart1e again on the Nyx, Tox on the Visor, so the abilities are at play here. Kind of want to see Tox pop that vision a lot, or maybe, defensively you're going to see him use it, but I want to see kind of vial control from either player here. It's really up to them how they want to use it, but the vials are going to be huge on this one as Tox smells something wrong here, trying to do a little bit of damage here. Needs to be careful not to drop down. Spart1e has that rail, and he's gotten a lot of mileage out of it the last 2 maps, so I can't imagine this is going to be any different.
Bit of early damage being done. An awkward encounter. Barely getting himself off. Oh, man. It's like they're bouncing up and down like they're on a trampoline at the minute. It's a little bit awkward, but they do get away from one another. And we see Tox reposition over towards the Mega to top himself back up. The drive-by is one onto one of the lights, so he's got a little bit more stack for the next encounter against Spart1e that, of course, slipped his way down the undergrowth and grabbed himself the heavy. Now he's really doing some heavy damage as the LG is pulled out. And unfortunately for Tox, he's laid the rest.
The rocket's not landing at all. Maybe signs of frustration, I don't know, but Spart1e doing a good job of dodging, putting himself on the board. And around the corner, Tox goes. Check your corners here, as now he's very weak, needs to be careful. Somehow gets in on the Mega and makes him pop the Ghost Walk. But he's still extremely weak, and here comes Spart1e, relentless in his pursuit. And he's like, oh, there's a heavy for me. This is fantastic.
Oh, man. Yeah, It's so nice to see as well. Spart1e, just whenever he's got rockets in his hands. Like, the rail from him today has been unreal, and we can't downplay how clean it's been. But his rockets are just on a whole nother level. Bouncy, bouncy. Oh, such a good time as he pulls out Big Papa Bump. The shotgun with an attitude for the third frag of this matchup. And we're only 1 minute and 50 seconds in. Grabs the Mega to keep himself in the fight, taking a lot of damage now, and uses his get out of jail free card as he quickly pieces out down the stairs.
Tox almost had the read on it, but he doubled back. Misses with the rail. Stacks are about even now, and Tox has to be careful. This kind of T-con area that he keeps going to without checking, he's been fragged there twice now because Spart1e's just setting the trap. All he's doing is waiting around the corner, getting all the damage he needs. As the rail's coming out now, Tox trying to hit anything. Spart1e missing with his follow-up, but he's going for it again. Tox finally hits one. A little bit of LG from Spart1e, assuming he was going to push. There's the rocket jump to get out. Mega's going to be waiting patiently there. Spart1e decides to take that, and Heavy is up, and now Tox is not in a position to defend this, and the rail from Spart1e. Spart1e's looking really strong right now. Almost catches that rocket ride as Tox jumps over.
Come back out, one after another, straight into the cranium there. So he'll leave Tox dead on the ground. That's 4 frags within the space of 3 minutes. It's really been quite an amped up game for Spart1e, continuing to keep that high tempo going as well, quickly transitioning through weapon to weapon. He decides on the railgun,
wow,
his weapon of choice. Unfortunately, he's pumped full of lead, dropped down, sleeping on the stairs.
Yeah, Toxic pulling out that machine gun funk, getting it done. As Spart1e just can't decide on what weapon he wants, can't put out the damage. Tox on the board. He's being very careful here. A little bit of rocket sending it into space, a bunch of flares, and Spart1e's just lining up these rails. 1 HP for Tox. Please get out of there, grab some health. And Spart1e doing a good job of laying down the damage.
Oh man, this is horrendous for Tox. 50 and he didn't even see that one coming. Spart1e, lightning speed as he bounces around the corner with the rail ready to roll. Blows Tox straight off his feet. Look at the transition on that as well. The flick coming out right now is so clean. The movement from Spart1e. Ah, he must have a gigantic mouse mat 40.
Huge, huge, absolutely, just as big as his meatballs. 5-1, so fresh and so clean as he's making Tox look like an outcast in his own arena here. And Spart1e tickles him with the LG before the Mega, and electrifying. This play from Spart1e is absolutely insane. There's the rail, almost gets the follow-up, sending Tox into the courtyard, and he cannot escape. Spart1e is just laying it down, and it's not supposed to happen like this.
Oh man, this is completely off script. Spart1e, he does not want to beat this man. He wants to murder him, and he's just giving him gunishment at the minute with a rail gun. Rail after rail, flick after flick. He's just not missing. This is going to do some serious damage to his wrists if he keeps this up. Tox attempting to do some of his own though, taking the cheeky peeks with the rail. They're not quite landing, but he's barely dodging out of trouble. Backs off and keeps himself in the fight. Attempting to juke him. Comes back out from the Shadow Realm and looking to take Tox straight down to it. Can't quite finish him off though. They're both fairly low at this point, left into a bit of a stalemate. Heavy's just spawned in. This is your opportunity to get down there, grab the additional armor, and have a good fighting stack for the next close encounter against Tox. Movement-wise, he's caught him off, spotted him out atop of the bounce pad, but doesn't want to run the risk of committing onto it. Mega's now come into play as well. They probably arrive about the same time if they do gamble of going for it, but he is conceding this one and playing for the audio cues.
So a Mega in Tox's pocket. Rail miss from Spart1e down below. 5 minutes, 6 frags. Well within the realm of possibilities, but you know, if you're a fan, you want to see Tox start heating up, start hitting some shots, start getting something going here. Spart1e misses with a rail. Just wanting to do a little bit of damage before getting out of dodge. He's okay with conceding the item. 6 frag lead. He's comfortable.
He should be. Being comfortable means you're going to be confident. It's a confident engagement to get into. Again, just piecing out at the right opportunity, making full use of the ability from the Nyx. Unfortunately, he can't survive that one, though. Tox will eventually frag him out. We are at the 6-minute mark, and he's still quite far behind. And that's where you're going to be raising eyebrows. This is obviously a worrying spot if Tox doesn't keep on building off the back of it. In terms of his stack to play with, he could go head-to-head right now if he's up for the chart. Slowly advancing further forward, should spot out Spart1e here, especially with the piercing sight coming in. Let's see if he can now pierce through his skin. Rail off the rail going out for the rockets. Quick transition to the LG, and he will not miss it on the trace. And again, Spart1e falls. 3-7 now.
And this is exactly what you want to see. Tox is using that vision a lot more cleanly now. First time around popping it offensively after Spart1e used the Ghost Walk. Second time using it preemptively there and getting that frag, and he's starting to heat up slowly but surely. Still needs a little bit more vial control there as the tri-bolt comes out and gives him a little tap on the head just to let him know that Spart1e's still around. 4 frag lead, and the hunt is on. What a rail, and that is what you want to see out of Tox. That rocket almost took him out though, but wow, that's a fantastic rail. Vision's popped. Trying to find an angle on another one here as we have 3 minutes remaining.
I suppose the only awkward bit about this is as well, right? Is obviously the timing's now coming into effect. Party's being able to juke him, keep himself out of trouble. He's also farming up those vials over and over and over again. And this keeps Tox at a position where he doesn't have to pierce his side as much. And Spart1e can just peace out whenever he wants to, using his get out of jail free card, essentially. I imagine this is what it's quite like with you trying to trace down your nicks in real life, for you.
Oh, yeah, she's just everywhere. Just I don't have the vision either. It's terrible, but you know, Tox is doing a better job than I am. 4 frags. He tries to rocket jump to close the gap. Unfortunately, won't land it. Items traded again from both players, and time is ticking. Tox is trying to make something happen, but now that the time is ticking, he's going to have to take bigger chances, and that's going to be, you know, that's going to spell more disaster for him as the chase is on, and Spart1e's just okay with throwing a little tri-bolt back behind him.
It's so rough, right? Obviously for Tox, he really is trying to catch up to him, cut him off, be able to juke him out and at least get ahead of him to somehow find another frag to keep himself in the runnings. But the more time that Spart1e burns, the less of a chance Tox has. And that chance is already looking quite marginal at this point. We're at 8 minutes and 15 seconds. He just can't find any opportunity. Trying so hard to chase him down. Spart1e barely just stepping out of a awkward encounter once again. The rocket jump does pay off, and the piercing sight is up. This could be an opportunity for at least 4 frags.
Oh no.
But it all goes sour. Tox left with 5 HP, trapped in a really awkward angle, attempting to just bail out.
Ooh, and Spart1e. This is a bit of a layup there. Good return rail from Tox, but Spart1e's out of there. He's just playing this exactly how he needs to. 4 frags, he doesn't need to do anything, just kind of be a pest, be a nuisance, do a little bit of damage, and keep on the run. And, you know, as this wraps up, there's a minute left. I don't know if Tox is going to be able to get this. He's going to maybe close the gap here and add a frag, but overall, you got to wonder, what does Tox need to do to... Wow, Spart1e with the defense there. Fantastic rail, adding to his frag lead there, and he's going to add another one. Almost gets him. As he pops the Ghost Walk, and is he going to follow up with it? Tox still fighting to the bitter end here, as he should. There's the heavy, good rail. Can he hit another one? Next rail wins, it looks like, and Tox will prevail. But again, these are just kind of consolation frags, Jackie. What does Tox do moving forward to kind of get out of this funk?
Yeah, it is kind of rough, right? Because obviously this series, it is put to bed. Although we still have a little bit of time left, 20 seconds to be precise, there's no coming back. There just physically isn't enough time for anything crazy to happen. So it is looking forward towards the future, I suppose. And looking forward to maybe a couple of cinematic rail frags thrown in on the end, just as freebies from Spart1e. He's been doing it the whole time. Why stop now? Rounds it out to a perfect 10.
And the capital GG's coming out from Spart1e. Put his stamp on it.
Yeah.
Clean sweep, and I don't know if anybody out there would have predicted that. I know we didn't, and that is, you know, I thought Spart1e was going to surprise us, but not like that. 3-0 in the set against Tox. The first 2 maps, absolute heartbreakers for Tox. The third one, just running away with it. You can't help but think, was that just a matter of Tox being like, I can't believe this keeps happening? It started off strong, but I don't know, man.
I mean, we've seen it at times where the Tox tilt does come in, but that didn't really look like one of those instances. It felt like he was still playing pretty solid Quake for the most part with how he was approaching it. He just couldn't intercept the light champion's nuisance that is Spart1e on the Nyx, right? He was outplaying him a lot in terms of the maneuverability, just able to hide, avoid a lot of the fights, and just wasted so much time. Once he'd got himself into a comfortable position, basically around here, where we see like we get to the, you know, the 6-minute mark, he had 7 frags. He didn't really need to do much else. He only had to burn off 4 minutes from the clock, and he did so pretty perfectly.
I mean, those Nyx boots are made for walking, and that's what he did. He walked all over the map with that lead, added a couple consolations near the end just to pad his stats a little bit, but I think overall, I mean, hats off to Spart1e. The whole set was played fantastically, playing from behind, playing in the lead. He did everything he needed to make sure that all 3 maps and all that sweet, sweet cash is his. So I just, you know, you can't help but praise Sparty for his play, and you can't help but feel a little bit bad for Tox. I mean, given the first two maps, they were just slugfests, right, Jackie? Back and
Oh
forth,
yeah.
right off the spawns, just getting in each other's grill, but it just went Sparty's way both times and just edging it out. And, you know, it keeps happening to Tox. That's what's heartbreaking about it is he seems to be put in that position over and over, week in, week out. And it's like, what do you do to fix that?
Wow. It is kind of rough because you're right. They were both slobber knockers, and obviously one frag difference between the both of them. That's something that can change. You know, potentially even if maybe Tox took a bit of a slower approach towards the late round or the late game, really, especially on Deep Embrace. Look, there was a couple of opportunities where maybe if he would have turned back the tempo, not gone up to 11 throughout the entire fight, maybe it could have been different. But who knows? Maybe he never would have had it so close if he did adjust his play style because the rails that he was hitting were really clean across the board. I think we saw a good display of Swedish Rocket and Rail tonight. It just looks sick from both of them.
Yeah, it's just really well played. Again, the first two maps were so incredibly close. What a way to kick off the day. But Sparty kind of puts his stamp on it on that last map. So, you know, hats off to both players, but Sparty just absolutely looking fire today.
He is indeed. Spam those fire emojis because that's exactly what he was doing. We will still have some more damage coming up in the booth tonight, of course, though. When we return, we'll be having Dewey go up against Maxless. Keep it locked for that one after the break.